Batman Secret Files, Peacekeeper-01, Issue 1, James Tynion IV, Ed Brisson, with Joshua Hickson doing the art. So, Matt, you read this.
Yeah. So this is the origin of Peacekeeper-01, and how we had heard through Fear State and the whole A-Day that when Arkham went up, he was the hero, right? And we've found out that he wasn't a candidate to become a police officer like his father and grandfather. He couldn't pass the psychology aspect of the test. He kept trying, and so here we get into how he was raised, and that we get some scenes with his dad and him early on, and how he was born in Gotham, and he's a citizen of Gotham, and that he's seen it at its worst. But his dad tells him that, when your great grandfather came from Ireland, the only place he could fit in is with the police department. He got to become his own person, and then he got to instill order amongst the chaos. And then, and also, as he's telling the story, we're getting, in the art, the dad taking Peacekeeper-01 when he's a kid out with him to take care of some business. And you come to find out that the dad and his dad's partner take a good cop, if you will, out of the trunk and beat him mercilessly for basically snitching on him. And we come to find out that the Mahoneys are all bad cops, and that they justify it by saying, like, hey, yeah, sometimes we work with people that we shouldn't, but they like order as much as we do. And when Gordon takes over, that goes out the window. So the Mahoneys have this vendetta against Gordon because he gets the dad fired. And we see a younger Peacekeeper-01, and he's on a field trip, and the field trip to the museum ends up getting interrupted by Mad Hatter, who uses his tech on the children and uses them to steal art. And even though the Gotham police know this and that Batman broke it up, the dad's still pissed that his son got caught up with some of the Gotham, super villain trash, and it makes him feel inferior. So this is what leads him to try to get in to the police department. He goes to see Gordon. Gordon's like, hey, I know your name. You guys are well known. Just know, though, that I don't hold you responsible for what your grandfather and father had done. I'm for everybody making their own path. And Peacekeeper-01 tells him in the interview, he's like, well, no, they were good cops doing bad things for good reasons. And Gordon's like, no, that wasn't the only thing your dad did. We have a file in the back, and he had to go. And, this leads to him working Arkham, and how he feels that why don't they just kill all of these, all the guys that come through Arkham? And one of the other security guards is like, well, no, this is job security, man. As long as they keep having crazies in Gotham, we're still going to have a job, and they're never going to help them. That's what this place is all about. And he's very bitter because he always wanted to be a cop, and come to find out that Jeremiah Arkham, who's running the place, doesn't like his attitude because one of the villains, I have to go back and look, was basically trying to escape, or made a lunge at him, and he just beats the piss out of him. And Arkham doesn't like that, and he tries to cover it up by saying that he was trying to escape. He goes, no, we have it on camera, man. It was Mad Hatter. That he basically takes out all of his frustrations on Mad Hatter, as Mad Hatter's locked in the cell. So they're basically going to let him go, and he's like, well, if they're gonna let me go, they're not gonna have their files. So he moves these big, like, gas canisters that I'm not sure what they use for an Arkham. But that he's gonna take out the Hall of Records as Joker is attacking Arkham, and he's kind of the reason why the big explosion at Arkham happened. That had he not moved all those canisters there, which then he goes back to save two nurses who were using they were oxygen tanks for, in case there's a gas attack or whatever in Arkham. That they're there trying to breathe so they don't breathe in all the toxin that's in Arkham. And that's why he's there and gets blown up and gets made to be the candidate for Peacekeeper-01. And as we're learning his backstory, we see him going through the sewers of Gotham, he said that he has to go home. He ends up going to his dad's bar that he opened after he got dismissed from the police force. And he realizes that he's like, well, no, I'm a good cop. I'm doing what I'm supposed to. You're the disgrace. And him and his dad get into it, and he throws him up against the wall and, lets him know that this isn't who he is. He's Peacekeeper-01, and he's going to go make this all right. And that Scarecrow, he says, Scarecrow's right. It's time to show the city a new era. Batman's failed, and I'm their future. And ends with a really cool panel of him walking off into the horizon, and it's all shaded in red with a big creepy Scarecrow in the back. Hickson's art is really well done. It reminds me of Michael Lark. It's just not as refined, so it really hits. As we're talking about all the crime type stuff, there's kind of a Gotham Central vibe going on with all the cop shenanigans, and it really plays with the shadows. And you actually kind of end up feeling bad for old Sean Mahoney, except the fact that he still tries to justify his family's past and whatnot. But he 100% is the hero of his story. And this was something that I kind of begrudgingly read. Like, I was like, I missed out on the Miracle Molly one that you guys all liked. Maybe I should give this one a go. And it ended up, I liked it a lot. I mean, it's not, you don't need it for Fear State, but it kind of does fill in the gaps on Peacekeeper-01 in a fun way. So I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Okay. I'm sure it's solid, but it was just, because it's Tynan at least driving it, if not being the one writing the dialogue.
Well, he does the plot, and then Brisson does the story. Well, Tynan gets a story credit, Brisson gets the writing credit.
Oh.
Yeah,
so
Brisson's a pretty solid writer as well, usually.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Just, and again, it might just be it was giving me Gotham Central vibes, and this is just like the other side of the coin of that. But yeah, and just the whole dynamics of Gotham are really at play here. That you find out the family's been working with it for the Falcones this whole time. So yeah, it's real good. If you have time, I would say go back, give it a read. If not, it'll be collected somewhere.